Test 1, 2. Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2023 New Brunswick Provincial Ladies Curling Championship Final. My name is Jack Smeltzer, and with me I have Zach Eldridge.
Good afternoon, folks. Excited to join you here today live from the Capital Winter Club. We've got a very exciting sudden death final today featuring our number one seed, Team Kelly. Has gone through this event undefeated, and they're taking on a team that we watched last night win the semifinals, Team Burgess. And by virtue of Team Kelly's undefeated record through the round robin, they will have the hammer to start this first end, and they also have had their selection of the yellow stones as well, Jack.
Yeah, and of course the teams can choose their stones from any sheet now that there are no other games going on. So I think Team Burgess is just playing with the Blue Rocks straight up from sheet 3. Maybe not in order, but they like that set when they played here. These two teams actually played on this sheet earlier in the event where Kelly was victorious.
Absolutely. I see Team Kelly's wasting no time here. Maybe a little bit of jitters to start the first shot there by the lead for Team Burgess, Taryn Abernathy. Slipped through the rings, and Team Kelly's wasting no time putting the corner guard up. And now Abby's asked her lead to come around it and try to cut off this draw path. So, Jack, we've got a couple of local teams here. Of course, Team Kelly, right here, member of the Capital Winter Club.
Yeah.
Abby Burgess representing the Gage Golf and Curling Club, not too far down the road in Ormuckto. And certainly a couple of players. I believe Abby may have even spared in a bonspiel this fall with Team Kelly at some point. So certainly a couple of competitors that are no stranger to one another.
Yeah, they're they're all kind of good friends off the ice and get along, and it should be quite interesting. Like, I'm sure obviously both teams want to win and have that right to represent New Brunswick at the Scotties and Kamloops, but the integrity of the game is still intact here.
No question. Now we see Katie Forward comes down and freezes on the Team Burgess rock. It appears as though Abby Burgess is indicating that the blue rock might be shot. Difficult to tell from our vantage point here, but nonetheless, we see maybe a little bit risky business here, Jack, with a team without the hammer playing around that corner guard.
Well, yeah, that just goes to show how important that first stone that happened to slip through the rings was. Hard to kind of set up around the center without any rocks around the center.
Absolutely. Now we're seeing Tyler Parmiter, the second for Team Burgess, with her first stone here. Looks like it's just a few feet heavy. It's hung wide and spills into the back of the 8-foot here. So advantage Team Kelly. They're going to continue to use this corner guard and try to set up a multiple score here.
Kelly must be content with how this is developing. I will say early on, just I'm not quite used to seeing this from Team Kelly, but the posture is immaculate. I would say they're kind of moving with purpose.
Absolutely.
Early on,
this is a team that's certainly got a lot invested into their season, Jack. We know Team Kelly's participated in many bonspiels across the country, not just within the Maritimes, but all over the country. And to get to this point today, to be at their absolute best possible game, to put their best foot forward here today.
That one from Jill Brothers, over curling and actually kind of picking her own off the face of that frozen blue. Still hangs around on the edge, but definitely they're trying to hit the back one, I believe, and roll open.
Very similar to what we saw last night, Jack. A lot of curl, a lot of finish on those soft weight hits. And that looked like just kind of a control weight, maybe board weight kind of hit, and a lot of curl at the end, almost a little bit too much for the team to manage. So looks like Abby's going to ask her second to draw in here again and potentially lie 3.
Yeah, and here's that big curl you were just alluding to. In last night's semifinal, when Burgess defeated Canadian Club champs Team Park, we saw a lot of curl towards kind of the sheet 1 side of the rink. Definitely a lot more than towards the sheet 5 side.
So Jill Brothers here with her second jack, and Jill's a new player to Team Kelly this year. Of course, a lot of the fans may be familiar with another Jill who was on the team, Jillian Babin, longtime member of Team Kelly. As a matter of fact, I believe Jillian may even be expecting her first child here any day. So she's not competing with Team Kelly this season, but we'll get a chance to see Jillian Brothers here throughout this game, and there's an excellent shot from her, and I'd expect to see some more of those. She's been playing very well this weekend and really seems to fit in very well with the team.
She's a great pickup for this team. One Jill has moves away, get another Jill.
That's right. There's only one Smeltsy though.
Yeah.
So, but they did quite well to find this great curler. Of course, using the import rules that are now in play. Jillian actually resides in Nova Scotia, but under some relatively new rules, it's acceptable to have a player come in from out of province like that, and she certainly seems to have fit in very well with the team.
Yeah, I wasn't asked to play. I think Jill's actually the only import in this event from any team. But with the pedigree that Andrea has and her success, in the past, and even in going back to her junior days, she has a Canadian Junior Championship to her name.
Absolutely.
So, and of course the bronze medal last year at the National Scotties certainly helped.
No question. I think seemed like last season Andrea found another gear and had such a great run at that national competition. There's no doubt that she's hungry to get back, and you can't do a whole lot better than she did, but I'm sure she'd like to win another game or two at that national level, if she's lucky enough to get that opportunity again.
Yeah, but Team Burgess also very hungry. Abby probably possesses the most amount of national experience. As a coach, she coaches a few under 18 ladies teams out of the Gage Golf and Curling Club. And, these girls are they're hungry to get, that taste, and they're oh so close. So it's important to have a good game here and really, let the best team win.
Absolutely. We see a nice draw there by Sylvie Quinlan from Team Kelly's third stone to split the rings and lie 2. Sylvie resides in Moncton, so Team Kelly's actually spread out a little bit beyond just Fredericton and Halifax, with one of their players also in Moncton. So certainly takes some effort for the team to get together in Bonspiel and practice, but the effort's been put in this season, no doubt. And a nice nose hit there from Brooke Tracy, the third from Team Burgess.
Both those shots that just happened, that draw by Sylvie and that hit by Brooke, kind of sneakily precise. If Sylvie's top of the rings, there might be a hit and roll to kind of be somewhat buried with some backing or set up a double. Now it's deep enough where if they nose twice, there won't be a double. There may still be a hit and roll. And then Brooke, the same thing. Sylvie couldn't replace her draw and have the same shot.
Absolutely. That's a good point, Jack, and the precision of those shots. And they really are team shots, aren't they? The sweepers need to be involved, and communication is key, and these are definitely two of the best rinks at that. Those draws, I know as a thrower, I always think about what the tolerable range is and try to throw it in that range and let my sweepers help me out too. And, a lot of those precise draws, it really takes more than one player to make those.
Yeah, both these teams have had excellent draw weight. These few games that we've seen of them this week. And what a week for Team Burgess. We talk about Kelly going undefeated. Burgess only dropped one game
Absolutely.
And it was to Kelly, but 5-1 record, and then winning in that kind of a yo-yo whiplash
Absolutely.
semifinal.
Yeah, it was an interesting game, and no doubt it seems as though Team Burgess has been gaining some momentum, building some confidence along this week, and a team that obviously does not have as much experience as Team Kelly, but they're certainly looking like they belong here in the early going.
Yeah, so a bit of a rollout, maybe a little more weight than what her third had thrown, and Team Kelly has a chance to draw and replace that yellow. Probably going to be back four, right where Sylvie's was, is a perfect spot.
Always love this situation, Jack, as a skip, and I'm sure you do too, that first end, you get an opportunity to throw a draw that's in a little bit lower pressure situation than sometimes you may face, and obviously good shot going to be required here, but for Andrea, drawing to lie two is a lot nicer than maybe looking at two with your first draw attempt in the game.
Certainly. She hasn't had to, admittedly, she hasn't had to face too many high pressure, high stakes scenarios this week. She's kind of always been drawing to sit two, or only facing one on her shots, which is obviously just because of the great team in front of her as well.
No question.
So, but compared to this more battle-tested Team Burgess, some higher intensity, closer games. We'll see. Not that Kelly is a stranger to high stakes.
No question. I see here again, like another really good team shot, Jack. Of course, Andrea got shot rocked by the time she got to the top 8, but the team wasn't content with that, and you saw the great sweeping duo, Katie Forward and Jillian Brothers, take that rock all the way to the tee line, or just a little bit behind, as you'd mentioned before, taking away that draw into that pocket, the hit and roll into the pocket for Abby Burgess.
Yeah, that roll looks maybe needlessly difficult to get. I think if you're Abby, you'd rather just try to nose this and make Andrea throw the hit and stick. But again, just maybe a little too much weight and rolled high side.
So now Andrea with an opportunity to draw right to the button here and pick up a deuce here in the first end and get her team off to a good start.
Haven't seen too much of this out-turn draw to the button path, but they would have thrown this in practice probably 100 times in the 10 minutes. So they should have a fairly good idea.
Joe Mason, the head ice tech here at Capital Winter Clubs, provided us with an excellent playing conditions for the week for the ladies, and know I've heard a lot of positive things from all of them. And this first end, as you said, Jack, they've definitely thrown this draw many times in practice, and shouldn't be any surprise for Andrea or the sweepers on what they're going to need to get this one into the forefoot. And so for anybody at home, that's splitting around 14-7 or 14-8. With very light sweeping, so we've got a very quick playing surface on our hands right now, and no mistake from Team Kelly. 2 on the board and off to a good start.
So here we start the second end. Lead Katie Forward. Katie was talking to me few months ago just about how she's always disappointed that her shots never get shown. But here we are.
This is the most comprehensive coverage in curling, Jack, and we're going to cover lead rocks all the way through to skip rocks here. So lots of airtime for our leads today in this championship match, and Katie's got this one into the top of the 12-foot here to start, and Abby's definitely going to go to the offense and get a corner guard up. Once again, folks, we're live here at the Capital Winter Club, downtown Fredericton. If you're in the area, drop by. We'd love to see you. Come check out our brand new, renovated clubhouse. Facility's beautiful, and a lot of great shots being made. And come on down and enjoy a nice cold one, and see some old friends and make some new ones.
That's it's downstairs, so we're kind of upstairs on our own, but downstairs was pretty full even just half an hour ago when I was last down there. So definitely good atmosphere. The music's going. The
Absolutely.
taps are flowing.
I like that. There's another little bit of a miscue here by the Team Burgess lead. The corner guard just slips into the side of the 12-foot, and that's going to allow Andrea an opportunity to go to the defense here very quickly without the hammer and hit this rock and attempt to lie two here, and it looks like no mistake from Kate, and now Abby's going to change gears and work on the other side with a second corner guard attempt.
Yeah, no need to panic. There's lots of game left for Team Burgess. It's just a 2-point deficit, 9 ends to go. Those rocks, they are top of the house, but they aren't. They're definitely outdrawable.
For sure.
Neither of them are quite full 12.
And for Team Burgess here, just getting settled in, it's hard to replicate the experience of what a final really is. And, of course, Andrea, no stranger to that, and a little bit less experience on the Burgess team, no question. So not a surprise to see it just take an end or two to get settled in, get the feel, and make a shot and get comfortable with the situation.
Certainly. There are definitely opportunities to watch lots of finals coming up here at the Capital Winter Club. Next weekend we actually are hosting the New Brunswick Masters,
Yep.
which is the 16 over category, and then February 2nd to 5th we are hosting the Atlantic University Sport, the AUS.
That's a competition
right
you're quite familiar with, Jack.
Yeah, forever runner-up in that competition, but in that one that's good enough to get the trip to nationals, and that's always a fun time.
Absolutely. Well, that's what's on the line here today, and another very precise draw from Jillian Brothers right into the button, and leaves Team Kelly lying 3, and Abby's asked her second Tyler Parmenter here to freeze on this, or maybe even tap it back a foot and try to get some offense going for their team.
The ice surface is great when the draws, the consistency on these draws is so high.
Now it looks like just a little bit heavy, didn't quite catch the curl, and now one of the best sweepers who doesn't sweep a lot, Andrea Kelly, is a very, very capable sweeper, and takes that from the tee line back on out, and now is going to try to put a little bit more pressure on Team Burgess by putting up that center guard, and she smells an opportunity here to potentially steal this end.
Yeah. For those who've never had the pleasure of meeting Andrea in person, she is sneaky strong. Her fun fact that she gave us for coming on the air was that she was bragging she could do 19 chin-ups in a row, and I haven't done 19 chin-ups ever, lifetime.
No, lifetime.
No.
Well, the first thing you would have to attempt them. So I can't even say I've tried.
No, it's really a mental game for me starting that first chin-up.
No question. This team, Kelly, they certainly take their game very seriously, not just on the ice but off the ice. I know they spend a lot of time in the gym. They train very hard, and it's all part of what their goals are for the season. Nice
double peel there to get rid of that stagger by Tyler Parmenter.
Absolutely opens up the middle a little bit, but not in. So Andrea's able to stay on the offense here and put up another guard. And she's actually thinking about maybe just coming around, tuck a little piece around that blue, take the run back away, and keeps pressure on Team Burgess. Sylvie Quinlan now with her first. Of course, Sylvie was part of the team last year, the bronze medalist at the Scottie Tournament of Hearts last year. So Sylvie's been a long time curler from New Brunswick, from the Moncton area, as we mentioned earlier, and seems to have fit in very well with this team Kelly in the last few seasons.
Sylvie's always kind of been known for her drawing ability, and she shows it off right there. I think that was exactly where the skipper tapped her broom.
Yeah, no mistake there. She's come out with that nice top 8-foot weight, and might have over curled just a little bit, but that's one of those things we'll continue to watch, Jack. But it seems like we're going to get a lot of finish on those draws today.
Yeah, especially kind of any softer throw with a bit less rotation. I think Sylvie's tendency maybe to throw it a little softer than someone like Jill or Andrea. And
just misses the double, but a great effort from Brooke Tracy, the third for Team Burgess. And Jack, I believe Brooke possibly was coached by Abby for many years, if I'm not mistaken, in the junior ranks.
Yep, that's definitely the connection there on this team. The student has maybe not surpassed the teacher, but met the teacher, and
I believe
they're having fun curling together.
Yeah, I think maybe the first year in the ladies' competition for Brooke, so no doubt a thrill for her to make it all the way to the finals here in her first go at the Scotties Tournament of Hearts.
I always love when younger teams play up an age group. Not necessarily just provincials, but get in some cash spiels that are not just junior spiels.
Yep.
That's kind of where you learn the most, because there is a big gap moving up. There's a lot to be learned.
No doubt, and now Brooke's going to be asked again here to remove this center guard, pick off one of their own to get this center opened up and give Abby a shot. So they're able to get one there, but unfortunately pick up the jam, and it's going to give Andrea the opportunity to throw the same shot again, and just with a little bit less risk now that one of the blue guards out front's turned into a yellow one. So Andrea doesn't have to worry about that being run back now on potentially maybe a last shot of Abby's. So put the broom down in the same spot and go down and try to replicate the shot your third just made for you. So Andrea now with her first rock here in the second end, and no stranger to this event, of course. I believe it's 10 times that they have been, Andrea has been champion in New Brunswick as a skip, vying for her 11th title. And that's a lot of titles when you're, I think she's only about 36, 37 years old. So that's a lot of championships to win in a short period of time. And even Andrea spent a few years out of the country in Germany. So I think there's about 3 years there where Andrea didn't compete in the Scotties. So even more impressive considering that. And she makes no mistake with her guard effort here and has covered up her shot rock.
If you're Abby Burgess, would you want to play the run, try to get shot on this stone, or just go for a single peel or a double peel, potentially?
Man, this is in this juncture, I think what you need to do is you've got to find a way to get that. With this shot, if you're Abby Burgess, you've got to get that yellow stone off the button. And if that means driving in one of the other yellow stones, potentially leaving it in the 8-foot, potentially leaving a guard out front, I think you've got to do whatever needs to happen to get that yellow stone off of the button on this shot. And that may give her an opportunity to score with her last one.
Yeah, it doesn't look like an incredible amount of ice for a peel. Just kind of going on inside edge of the rock. Abby does throw it fairly straight. Based on the sweep there, it looked like they were going for the run.
I think so too. Just ran a little bit on her. I think once Abby gets a feel for that, how her hits are going to run, we'll see her make a couple more of those. I think I mentioned last night, I've had the opportunity to play a couple of different bounce spiels with Abby, and when she gets a feel for those takeouts, she can be very, very sharp with her run backs and with the up weight.
Yeah, one thing to consider, there are two lefties in the game today, lead Katie Ford and the other being skip Abby Burgess. Yeah, I find Abby's kind of laser-like to the broom most of the time. It's just, putting the broom in the right spot, because definitely is a kind of a unique throw, how straight it is.
For Andrea here, the sweeper seemed to like this. She's just trying to put her guard back almost exactly where it was before. The weight looks good, and the sweeper seemed to like it. A little bit of a finish here to get this over the center line, and just about perfect again. So looks like the skipper's come out with her A game already this afternoon, and Abby's going to have a few choices to make here. It looks like there's a couple blues up there potentially, Jack, that could be run in. What do you see here as your best scoring opportunity for Team Burgess?
Probably the one she's looking at.
Yeah.
The blue that she just had thrown that now sits on the left hand side of the screen. Running that back is pretty risky of picking out your own and giving up a 2 steal. And running any of those yellows back, probably an easier shot to score, but again, riskier. You don't want to, you're a quarter of an inch from stuffing the yellow on there and giving up 3.
True, yeah.
But she just did play this, and it, as long as you don't really miss wide, I think that would be the mistake here. And definitely less ice than what she just threw.
No question. I think second time around she'll have a lot better feel for this track and for her release on this shot, and expect her to be really close.
That blue on the right-hand side is pretty thin to kind of stick that. It would be for 2, but the in-off and slash both very thin.
Here's a final stone on the second end. Abby Burgess looking for a double run for 1 point here. A little bit more movement, a little bit less weight on this one, Jack, and it's close.
Great
what
shot.
A great shot. What a big shot by the skipper in this early going here to pick up a single point. And certainly could have been worse, Jack, and what a fantastic shot by Abby Burgess to keep her team in this early in a 2-1 game heading to the third end. All right, folks. Starting off the third end here, we've got Taryn Abernathy of Team Burgess being asked to put up the center guard.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I think maybe the call was in, Jack.
Yeah, it looks like that's where Abby's currently motioning for.
Sweepers are on it, and looks like they're going to get this into the top of the 8-foot.
Yeah, it seems like great sweeper's ice for sure. Kind of saw yesterday it was running around 14.8 seconds to the tee line, and seems like the same today.
Little bit surprised, Jack, in the odd end to see the team without the hammer being down go in the rings. My guess would have been that they would have played the tight guard. Andrea, no question, is going to be content to hit this and try to run away with the hammer and a 1-point lead into the fourth end and maintain that control.
Yeah, Andrea's a smart cookie. She'd be happy to win this game 2-1 after 10 ends.
No doubt, no doubt. I know certainly a lot of emphasis is put on scoring in those even ends. And if you got an opportunity with a lead to blank an odd end and carry that hammer into an even end, it's quite often a good idea. But, also for Team Burgess, a great opportunity to just reset. A little bit of a shaky start, but very much still a great game on the go here. A good chance for them all to just settle in, throw a little bit more routine shots, get the nerves settled, and really get dialed in and ready to take some chances when they present themselves.
Yeah, it might have been more of a confidence call than anything.
Sure.
Interesting to see the corner guard go up too, kind of to
Absolutely.
Your point.
Yeah.
Maybe she's not happy to win 2-1
Well, no,
after 10.
That's right. So Abby's going to elect to try to choke off that draw path, and I think she's just looking for about a top 12, top 8, top of the house type of draw here from her second. Tyler Parmenter with her first, and block off that draw path for Team Kelly.
We did notice kind of in the first end this game and in last night's game, Abby's not really afraid to kind of accept the corner and almost embrace it and go around them. Definitely another call here would be to go around your top blue one, or maybe even guard your blue. But yeah, like one mistake around a corner guard can sometimes lead to a big end.
Sure, and we've seen Team Burgess come up just a little bit heavy on this one, slip through the rings, and it's going to give Andrea an opportunity here to make the most of this corner guard. And even in the later stages of the game last night, Jack, it seemed as though the draw from the inside of the sheet out to the wing was maybe just a hair quicker than the draw into the button path.
Yeah, they definitely later in the game, for sure.
This one came down a little bit. They've got a bite, and it's completely buried, so it's definitely something Team Burgess is going to have to deal with, and Abby comes up and asks to have that corner guard peeled right away.
Tyler had a few of these take off on her in last night's game. She nosed one or two of them, but no mistake here.
And there goes the corner guard. So Andrea's going to have a choice now, maybe to hit the lie too. No, she wants to replace that corner guard and keep Team Burgess on the peel as long as she can, and delay that play in the rings for at least a couple more shots, Jack. Now they're working hard for the curl, Jack, as some of the viewers may or may not be familiar with. The directional sweeping has really been a big factor in the curling game. And look, the skip's out here to take over and trying to get every inch of curl she can possibly get on that one. Just a little light. I mean, if that rock travels another 2 or 3 feet, it's likely to curl another 4, 5, 6 inches and would have been right on. So maybe just a little bit light, as much as anything.
Yeah, she could have almost thrown the same weight as her last, because they really swept that first one in Jill's coast to coast and barely got a biter. So maybe just a bit of an overcorrection there by Jill, but still definitely not easy to hit and roll in off that yellow.
No,
just curled enough. So
looks like it's about edge on edge, maybe, Jack. So any inside roll is going to be very difficult. And a nose hit's going to leave you outside of the rings on that. So Abby elects for the come around here, and looks like Brooke Tracy's got great weight on this one. Finishes well and almost completely buried, so great effort.
I think that's going to be kind of the key for this Burgess team early on. We've seen a few draws just go a little deep and not really given to the sweepers, but when they are given to their sweepers, they're bang on. So
Absolutely.
it's nice to see the adjustments being made early on in this game.
Lots of movement on this side, and for Sylvie here, I think she can probably see about half of this rock or so. And with the curl and the guard being a little bit higher up, she should have no trouble to hit this and stick around with this shot.
I think they're even, Andrea called the roll in to roll behind the top 12 stone. And Katie Ford
has her head down, and she's sweeping for all she's worth. And I'll tell you what, all those hours spent in the gym are paying off on shots like that. That got by the guard by about a half an inch. And Katie takes a back seat to no one when it comes to leaning on the broom and working hard.
She really is one of the best sweepers in the country.
No question, Jack. Yeah, really a lot of effort on that one. And this is the not just the strength but the science behind the sweeping, that the inside sweeper there is working hard to hold that rock straight, and it all worked out for Team Kelly.
Tough shot here for Brooke Tracy. Pretty much hit as much as you can see of this Yellowstone to try to get this double. Jumped a little early out of her hand and just gonna get the top one. Maybe.
Now are they gonna get this out?
They're both sweeping it, so someone's wrong, but
not quite.
Yeah, sticks around. And
so now for Andrea, she's checking this out to see just who is 1, 2, and 3. It looks like blue might be shot rock, and for Andrea, likely just looking for a nose hit here, and we'll have her 3 yellow rocks spread around the rings pretty nicely.
Yeah, it won't be shot for long.
No mistake from Sylvie, right on the nose. Just a little bit of a roll to the left, but it's going to leave Abby potentially with a double opportunity off this top rock and roll her shooter over underneath that corner guard area. So
yeah, potentially it.
Do you think that
looks
might be
close
lined
to
up
a
for
triple? Close to a triple. Might be might have to get the back one. You might have to hit the top one a little too thick to get the side one, but.
Even rolling over onto the rock that's under on the other side, rolling beside it would be a great shot. Would leave her shooter behind the guard, and right now, looking at a 3-ender, a double would be a big shot here for Team Burgess. We'll see how much movement we get here, Jack, on this. We've noted we thought maybe a little bit more movement on this side, and let's see how this finishes. It's close.
Very close. Sweepers are on it.
Oh, unfortunate for Abby there. Great throw. Just goes over the top of the back one. Makes good contact with the one on the side, but not quite enough to put it out. The good news for her, though, is she's got her shooter left. Well, it's about half covered. So
I think it might be completely buried if...
potentially just see a little bit on the outside, but of course the outside's so much straighter that, great effort from Abby there.
Yeah, any thicker you get that double, and maybe your roll is in the top of the house, not necessarily on the tee line.
Yep. Looks like she's just going to play like a quiet wait, just through the rings sort of wait, and try to bump this just through the rings and counter 3 that way. No doubt using the sweepers to get it by, and then switching to the other sweeper when you are by to get the big finish.
Yeah, Sylvie had a nice throw and sweep here just a shot or two ago.
Looks very close. Sweepers were on it. Now they're off. It shaves the guard. Now the other sweeper jumps on. Joe Brothers is going to finish this. No problem to hit 3/4 of a stone for Andrea Kelly, and hack weight pumps that out of there. So lots of movement from the inside out, Jack.
just as he drew it up, Zach.
So now Abby she's down to just one bullet left here, and she's got to make this one count because looking at 3, potentially a freeze. What do you see here, Jack? That there's a double opportunity. What do you like for her last one?
Yeah, it's there are 2 doubles. Neither of them are easy. You could hit the outside one and try to roll your shooter into the side of the one Andrew just threw, or hit the one Andrew just threw. You might have enough to roll across the house around 6 feet and get the other one, but you have to throw both of them pretty hard.
Yep. It looks like she's thinking pretty hard about this double off the side. You hit it a little bit thick and you roll right on top of the face of the shot rock. Would also be a great outcome for Abby. Double would be a great outcome because most likely making the double means your shooter is going to be left behind that guard and is going to test Andrea to throw a great rock again. So I like the idea of hitting one here, Jack, too. And you don't want to give up the big end here in the early going.
Yeah, and you might have seen Abby her first motion was to freeze on that rock. Freeze is the most difficult shot in curling. So precise line and weight-wise, and even sometimes when you make it perfect, it can still be removed. So, and kind of respecting Andrea's big weight ability.
Abby Burgess here with her last, looking for the roll, facing 3, and this one kind of running out a little bit on them, Jack, too, but it looks like she's going to get some inside roll to me. Just not quite enough. So unfortunately, going to leave Team Kelly, unfortunately for Team Burgess, going to leave Team Kelly line 2 and an open draw for 3 here in the third end.
Yeah, just kind of saw Brooks ran straight there, too. Maybe once you get outside
and Abby
the
as well
8
there
foot.
in the first end. Remember we saw Abby throw a couple on that side and they kind of tracked a little bit. And
Yeah.
not a lot of movement out there on those wings, which is no surprise on this kind of championship ice.
Yeah, the draws are nice finish. You can come around almost anything, and then the hits are arrow straight once you elevate the weight.
So Andrea Kelly here with her last stone of the third end. Needs to get a little better than full 12 foot for 3 points. Sweepers are on it early here, and they're off and on. They seem to like it, so we have to think this is quite close. Working hard here to get it in.
And
It looks
what
like,
a sweep, but
Jack, it looks like they might have got it by an inch or 2.
well, high five from the
Yeah,
front end.
It looks like it. Well, all those hours in the gym, that was 2 shots that end, Jack. I mean, not to overstate it, but there was 2 shots that end that were literally inches or fractions of inches. And we talk so much about how much effort Team Kelly puts into their game, not just on the ice but off the ice, and it's paying dividends here in this final.
Yeah, so a 3-point third end. Team Kelly will lead 5-1 after 3 ends, and Team Burgess will have the hammer in the 4th.
And we're back here for the start of the 4th end. And now with a 5-1 lead for Team Kelly, Katie Forward's been asked to bring this rock right into the top 4 foot. May slip just a little bit deep in the back button, But of course, the theory here from Team Kelly is they know that Team Burgess has got to go on the offense. They're going to go to the corner guard here right away and try to generate their 2 points. And they've got no choice but to ignore that rock that's on the back of the button right now, Jack.
No, they definitely just kind of quickly talked about it off air. Andrews had to throw one hit, and it was a beautiful hit on a buried rock. But it seems like the draw weight is pretty dialed in for the whole Kelly team. So it'd be nice to have her face maybe have to throw a double or some sort of hit and kind of generate a miss. Because right now Andrea's not missing.
No, and anytime you play a great player like Andrea, she's not going to miss many easy shots. You've got to complicate the situation as much as possible. She may miss the difficult shot, but as long as she has a steady diet of open hits and draws, I think we'll see her make most of those.
Yeah.
So Katie here again coming down just with a foot or two less weight into the top 4 foot, a little bite on the top 4 foot here, and Abby's gonna ignore that, of course, again, and use that corner guard they just threw up and try to get some offense going here.
Sweepers are on this early. Looks like a bit of a tighter line and not much more weight. They might just let it go and have another corner.
Use the double corner, maybe even a little bit better corner guard with this one. And but now with the double corner, if Team Burgess is able to use it, certainly complicates things. Now with Andrea here, of course, she still can't hit this on her second stone, Jillian Brothers' first rock. And didn't see the call, Jack, but is this going to be a tight guard, or are they going to bring another one right in?
I'm the wrong person to ask for paying attention to things.
Jillian Brothers here, again, as we mentioned earlier. The import lives in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and no stranger to the national scene, junior champion, won at least a few Nova Scotia Scotties in her own right, a very decorated curler, and joins Team Kelly here. And it was, in fact, the guard that was called, Jack, and they're working hard to get this over to the center line. And big finish there, and gets that stone about half covered that's in the top of the 4 foot.
Definitely enough room to kind of make a play at either of the yellow stones in the house, though. Try to generate around the center guard that was just thrown. Tyler Parmenter being asked to draw to the back one. They're, with that first one running just a little deep. It's the subtleties of the game. Hey,
Absolutely, that's all it takes. And not able to use their corner guards just yet, but they're going to try to get shot rock right in here on this rock that's in the back 4. And for Tyler here, this one's sliding a little bit, maybe just a couple feet heavy. Andrea's on it, and it just sneaks by the shot rock and into the back of the 8 foot. So with a miss like that, this is another opportunity for Team Kelly to stay on the offense and really congest that scoring area and make it very difficult for Team Burgess to get in there.
Yeah, that's about the maybe the second or third time that first rock of Tyler's has gone a little straight and a little heavy. I'm not sure if she's just getting in some wider paths that are going a little straighter or a rock situation. Of course, both teams selected their rocks, so they should have a pretty good idea.
And no mistake there from Team Kelly. Another quality guard, and Abby's going to have to get this opened up here. She's looking for a double peel, and potentially two here, Jack, just the way these are lined up. If it's hit just right, you might be able to get the double peel and get this rock moving back towards the middle of the ice and even jiggle things up around the 4 foot area a bit.
certainly
Running
really
out just a little bit.
straight here.
Yeah. At
Right
one
by
point,
every-
actually, the sweepers were on it and seemed to just float out a little bit there for Tyler, unfortunately, and just missed that. So
That's where we saw Avi's hang straight, in the second end.
that up weight, it certainly does. Any outward motion, you'll see that rock track the whole way, and very sensitive to release, which I didn't see, but maybe just the slightest outward motion there with that kind of weight, Jack, and they won't come back.
No. So it's going to take a few nice shots here from Team Burgess to get out of this bit of a pickle. Drawing to sit 3 buried.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that Andrea's thinking on this shot, I don't want to let Team Burgess have another opportunity to draw on that back button rock. And as long as this is positioned somewhere in front of it, removing that shot. And this looks like it's going to be very close. They're around the guards and going to get around the one on the top of the 4. And well done by Sylvie on her last shot here. Excuse me, on Sylvie's first shot to cut off that button area and the scoring areas. Andrew's got it covered here quite well here in the 4th end.
Yeah, definitely need to open things up. I think right now you'd be happy just to escape with a 1 if you're Team Burgess.
Absolutely. No question, Jack. I think that's got to be the agenda here, is to get this front open, really needing the double peel. If they're fortunate enough to hit this just right, again, this rock that's going to be struck first has a good chance to come back into the 4-foot area.
Even if you hit it a bit thick and run back onto the top 8, there's definitely chances.
Yep. So this is what Team Burgess needs. They got to get it open and give themselves a chance.
And just watching that one come down the sheet just kind of confirmed that it just tracks the whole way. Didn't move an inch, and a little unfortunate there. She hit about as thick as she could have without.
Unfortunately didn't
making
get the other
contact.
one, so put it right through the hole, and Andrew's going to have a chance to, I think, probably replace that guard. Didn't see an indication for how deep she wants this, but I think probably just a guard. Maybe a biter, Jack, where...
Yeah, she just kind of waved her broom up in the air. She probably said something we can't hear, and maybe robots and machines communicate differently than we do. But I think they may want this one higher, just based on the way they're sweeping
I'm
it.
hearing 2-3 from these sweepers, so must be about halfway.
Make the double peel a little more difficult. Not much more, though. But now if the double peel is made, that rock isn't going back into the middle.
True.
It's going to spill out to the side, and those 3 on the 4-foot are pretty well protected. It's going to take at least 2 shots to clear them.
Brooke here again with this firm weight double peel attempt. Sweeper's on it. I think it's close. And unfortunately it stuffs and leaves one guard still biting the center line. For Andrea here, I think likely to go back over to her outturn side again and try to cover up the shot rock and number 2 rock. You see Sylvie here indicating something about a foot and a half off the center line will get the job done.
I think almost regardless of where this yellow goes, Abby might not even entertain the double peel as much on her skips first. She might just try to run it back and get some of those yellows moving, because
Sure.
the draw is there on the in turn to score your 1. But
Very
if you're
difficult.
not biting the button, it's a seal of 2.
Absolutely, yeah. There is a bit of room there, but very, very little, and really almost a cold draw on the other side. So not the shot the skipper's looking for here to score on the fourth end, that's for sure. Sweeper's on it now, looking for a little bit of finish. Weight looks close, and they're just trying to drag this a little closer to center. And it looks like an effective guard here, Jack. Really, I think if there's any double peel, the shooter's going to stay. And for Andrea, she's certainly cut off the path to the shot rock.
Yeah, and not sure if a draw is some sort of option here on our first. Definitely taking their time thinking about it. It's great if you make it, and somehow you might even get two out of it if it's really good. But if you miss it, you're hurting.
Absolutely. I mean, it's almost certain that she'll have to play something like that on her last one. So it's great to have that practice shot and have an idea, but if she's not successful with it, Jack, you know the guard's going to go up on that side.
Yeah.
And may not have a second opportunity.
Yeah, maybe one of those, probably the high blue corners would have to be run in, and it's kind of a Hail Mary, to score.
So Abby here looking for a piece of the button with what is her out turn.
These draws are always so difficult as a skip. That one top edge of the four it's really clunked on a lot in a lot of scenarios.
Definitely.
I've had my fair share of those.
That's a tough one to get around, and it certainly requires a little bit more ice to do so. And we've remarked a couple of times, Jack, too. We've talked a lot about with Team Kelly, but also this front end on Team Burgess with Tyler Parmenter and Taryn Abernathy. Really been a great sweeping combo as well. This one looks a little tight to the guard, though, Jack. And
yeah, I think
light.
She just might have pinched it off a little bit, and then the combo of speed and line just
a little bit light is what I see on that one, and over curl. So it's going to leave Andrea an opportunity now to cap this off, as we discussed before, and how I don't think Abby's going to have that same opportunity again on that out turn side as she'd had on this previous shot.
No, and it looked like Andrea's thinking top 12, and if it's I think if the score is a bit different, if it's a tie game or so, you'd probably see the guard and leave, say good luck to Abby with that slash. But if you leave this top 12 half open, Andrew's still pretty content. Hard to get a double. If you hit this top 12 one, you're almost certainly going to give up points, and you can't afford to do that,
No question.
approaching the middle stages of this game.
Yeah, right where Sylvie's broom is really takes away the draw path, it takes away the slash, and would leave Abby with a tough choice to make there.
A little light on this one as well.
A little light now. It's forced her draw path. I mean, I guess the slash is still there, Jack, but it's forced her out at least a foot or more wider, so it's going to require this draw to be even more precise than it would have been last time. So Abby's had a chance to get a bit of a feel for it with her first one, and
I think all things considered, though, just following where that stone is and that top four stone is that we mentioned on the last shot, not sure if it actually guards that much. It just
yeah, it should be able to curl still up to the button, I would think, with the amount of depth that's there.
With a nice throw here, would have learned on our last one. It looks like a better release.
Line looks close, Jack. Sweepers want to go. Sweepers say they've got to go, and they're working it now as it comes across the hog line.
Line's really nice.
Weight looks really good, and line's pretty close. They've switched now. Tyler Parmenter on the inside trying to get the finish on this.
Got to go for T-line, and
perfect weight from Abby, and just maybe a foot heavy. She pulls in almost full four, cuts them down to 2, but it's still going to be a big steal of two that end for Team Kelly, and now opening up a 7-1 lead through 4 ends.
She makes it look easy, doesn't she? Drawing top 4 every time.
Absolutely, yeah, no mistake there from Katie. And with a 6-point lead, Andrews asked her lead Katie forward to bring that first rock into the top of the 4-foot. Very similar to what we saw last end. And of course, Team Burgess going to go with the corner guard here and try to mount some offense here before the 5th end break. And this one is slide and jack, and it's yeah, Andrews called for the hit, so it's just slipped into the rings, and certainly makes it pretty hard to score any points when you're not taking advantage of that free guard zone, especially with that first one. Team Kelly with the 6-point lead here is going to run right up and hit that as quick as they can, and are content to keep it as clean as possible at this point. No mistake there from Kate. Makes the hit and rolls right into the top of the 12-foot and covers her shot rock. So a couple of very precise shots from the lead Kate forward here to get things started in the 5th end. And boys, Jack, this Team Kelly, they're not missing much here today.
No.
They've come with their A game and certainly have their sights set on the prize, don't they?
Yeah. Even throughout this week, a few, like, this is a kind of a textbook game. Kind of every game has looked like this, just sort of this suffocating strategy, and they don't miss the wrong way. I don't think they've missed even the right way this game so far. It's all makes, but just leaving your opponent the hardest possible shot every time, and when there's a miss, there's very little chance to kind of salvage an end.
Jillian Brothers here with her first one in the 5th end, and able to be asked to put up a center guard here over 2 really nice rocks that we saw from Kate forward thrown, and sweepers seem to like this and are going to try to work this right over onto the center line.
To my point, not many skips would call a center guard, up 6. But that leaves the hardest shot for the opposition, and it's been working so far.
Well, definitely Andrea's got that killer instinct too, and I think she can sense her opponents are kind of on the ropes here, and this might be an opportunity for her to distance herself here and maybe make this an early finish, because if Team Burgess isn't able to mount some offense here quickly.
Yeah. No, you kind of really hoping for a 2 at least, or a 3 this end. But with those front end stones, it's certainly difficult to. There are just no angles for Team Burgess as of right now, but still lots of end to go.
Lots of time to go here, and Tyler with her first one makes a nice come around. Sweepers work hard on that, but fully buried and gets a bite of the 12-foot. So Andrew's going to go get rid of that corner guard now, and
you're gonna have to maybe throw another corner, but you can't leave the center forever.
definitely not.
This one's hanging a little bit.
It's going to wind up clipping their own, and really, in the end, Jack, not a bad result. I guess the blue is still in play, but unfortunately for Team Kelly, they lost their center guard on that. And fortunately for Team Burgess, still a little bit of a biter on the side of the 12-foot. So maybe a bit of an opportunity here.
A little bit of a corner as well. That yellow looks like it might be third shot and in the rings, but you know, sometimes your own rocks don't help you. It can definitely be used to come around. If you come around back 8, it's, you know, fairly nice shot, and start clearing some yellows, make a double or two. Could get a nice end here.
Line looks good here, and the sweepers are jumping on this to finish it. Huge cut here at the end. Oh, just got by and had a ton of room there, even halfway between the hog line and the house. And huge finish, and another really nice draw from Tyler. Andrew's going to ask her third now to run this back. A little short run back, but maybe even a double there, Jack, if they were able to hit this a little bit on the low side. Possibly spinning the shooter in and killing both blues is an option here for Team Kelly.
I think just the straight run is what has been called.
Sweepers are working hard on this, backing it off a little bit, and great effort, and it's going to roll over and just sit on the side of it. So, well executed.
Blue's still biting, but fewer and fewer stones to get that in a relevant place.
And unfortunately for Team Burgess here, they're going to have to go around their opponent's stone again. So, obviously, even if they are to make this shot well, the same shot will be available for Sylvie and Team Kelly.
Maybe you'd like to see just maybe a bit deeper on this one. Usually you're taught to be in front of the tee line, but that makes the run back only a couple feet. If you're back 8, you know, it turns into a much harder shot.
Line a little bit tighter on this one, Jack, and it looks like they're just going to crash on the side of this one. Maybe just a little bit light. And now Andrew's going to have a decision here. Line 3, possibly 4. I kind of think the center guard's coming back up, and yeah, looks like the skipper's looking to protect these ones on the 4-foot.
Yeah, there's no draw on the right-hand side as we look at it to score. And again, you know, one feels like it's not going to quite cut it. The score the way it is.
So Sylvie here with her last. Been asked to throw up a center guard. Weight looks quite close, and sweepers are jumping on this now to get a little bit of that finish onto the center line. And no problem at all. As soon as they start to move, they really go, Jack, and well executed shot.
Getting to the point now with mate's last shot, you know, great guard, and you can't really afford to peel it. You kind of got to use what you've got here. That blue that Brooke Tracy just threw is in a usable position. You can tap or, you know, try to generate something closer to the 4-foot. Again, you know, trying to make Andrew's shots more difficult and force a miss.
Looks close, Jack, but again, it's just kind of running out a little bit, like we've seen with a couple other of these hits that, halfway down it looks like it's really good and even close to the hog line, but then they just kind of continue to float with that up weight and tracked a little bit for them.
Still not a bad result. Sitting what looks to be second shot, kind of effectively corner frozen. Pretty difficult for Andrea to remove.
Definitely
I don't think you'll see her try to.
She can probably see all of that rock, and I have no doubt she could make it with a real quiet weight, but this call that Sylvie's making might be a simpler shot to just cap that off and guard it, and then a lot less risk to a shot like that. Obviously, Andrea's going to call a timeout here and discuss this a little bit with her coach. We'll see Daryl Nowlin come out, longtime coach of Team Nowlin, Team Kelly, and we've seen Daryl coach a lot of teams at the Scotties and Briar level, longtime coach of Team Grattan, and many appearances at the Nationals, so brings a lot of experience to this team.
Yeah, they say those who can't do, teach.
Well, I can remember Daryl. It's a long time ago now, but Daryl was quite a good player in his day, too. I remember him and James had a great run at the Briar many moons ago, and Daryl certainly turned into one of the best coaches around, and not just for New Brunswick. We've seen him, I think, in the Nationals representing PEI teams before. And
no, Daryl's a great guy, great player, and great coach. And I've never had the opportunity to be his little grasshopper, but I've heard stories, and he really tells you how it is.
Definitely bringing a lot of it.
He could be pretty blunt, but in a charming way.
Brings a lot of experience to the team and worked with the team for a long time, so no doubt they're just considering their options here. Do we want to try to get that blue out of there? Do we want to just guard this, or are we going to bring another one in? So no doubt they're going to go over all the scenarios here and make the best choice given the situation, Jack, too. I mean, so many of these decisions aren't just based on what might have been the right shot in the first end is different in the fifth end, and what's the score, and so many factors into making the right decision out there.
Yeah, the more I think about it, I don't quite love the guard call that Sylvia had kind of motioned to initially. There is a double off those left two yellows.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you guard and that shot is made, suddenly you just guarded two of your oppositions.
Yep.
And, a potential three for Team Burgess to get back in the game.
Well, it looks like the hit's the agenda here. I don't know if they're going to play it with the run back of the center guard or just try to go with even a nose hit with firm weight on that blue. You would lose the back yellow, but I think you'd spill both of them. And
they might be looking at the peel.
Yeah, almost like a run back of the center guard, and
just kind of maybe conceding a two. There's always a potential that you'd have a double to force. But giving up two is not the end of the world here at all for Andrea, and they're still debating even after the timeout.
This looks like guard ice to me, Jack. I would guess.
Yeah.
Or maybe it's almost, another very effective shot would be almost to cross the blue.
Yeah, kind of like a lead or a second shot.
Yeah.
That inside freeze.
Yep.
On the top 12 stone.
I kind of think that might be the call, and of course anything short's okay. But you're right; Abby's gonna be looking at that double potentially to sit too if this rock's left out in front of the rings.
Yeah, because she's she's got to the point where she needs to make something happen, and you can't play safe anymore. You gotta kind of take some risks.
Yep.
Looks like they're calling real tight to the rings. Yeah, Sylvie's tapping right in front of the blue. Kind of an underrated aspect. It's just overcurled on them.
Weight was great. Yeah, overcurl a little bit and leaves most of the blue exposed. Abby has a choice now. She might be able to, just play her own here and roll the shooter off to the broom side and sit two that way.
Sit two buried as well. Kind of underrated aspect of Sylvie's, presence on the team is she's an amazing line caller.
Definitely.
There's certain times where Andrea and Sylvie are maybe disagree on the line call, but it always just turns out to be Sylvie's seeing into the future.
Definitely. Well, I believe Sylvie's represented New Brunswick at least a time or two as a skip, and certainly, spent a lot of time in the rings, skipping, playing third for Andrea, and watched a lot of rocks come down the ice and polished her craft there over the years. For Abby here, a bit of an opportunity, Jack, and sweepers are on and off. It looks pretty close.
Nice quiet weight. You're getting it to curl, which is
Going to hit a nice half of this, and a well-executed shot by Abby Burgess here.
not quite.
Didn't quite hit it far enough. I think she's lying 1.
Yeah. Yellow is 2-3. Looks like to me. I think that side blue is not even nibbling the 8-foot. So
I think you're right. So
any double would roll your shooter out unless you play an old Al Hackner, kind of impossibly thin double on those second and third counters.
Andrea's looking at her options here now, and I mean, she could even elect to just draw right around everything. She's looking at a couple of different slashes.
Yeah, it's pretty tricky to get rid of that shot bluestone, and not without risk. If you ever jam it on the back, it could be a hit for 3 for Burgess.
Looks like there's a couple little in-off type doubles. I can see Andrea also sizing up this wide out turn draw that maybe even if she gets in that back 4-foot area could be completely buried and be really difficult for Team Burgess to get at.
Especially with that backing, you don't even have to be super buried, and
yes,
the jam is always there.
I think I like this call, Jack, because a slight miss on this will make Abby's last shot harder.
Yeah, even if you're a little light.
Yeah. So Andrew's elected to go to the draw here. We're not sure, but I know she needs to get at least half a rock in the 4-foot, and if she can get it around the top blue shot rock, no doubt there's going to be a lot of finish on this, and could get it sunk underneath, I'm sure, with back button, maybe back 4-foot weight, Jack.
Yeah, and she doesn't even mind being back 4 and leaving that draw for 1 because.
Certainly, yeah, that'd be mission accomplished.
Yeah, I think you'd try to see Abby cook up a harder shot for 2. If that was the case.
Line's close.
It's really straight once you get out there. It might be a hair heavy.
Little tick. Maybe just a hair firm. Didn't finish a whole lot, but it's going to leave Abby with a draw for 2. And just what the doctor ordered here for Team Burgess. Looking for the 2-ender here before the 5th end break and get a little bit of momentum going in their favor and sort of some of those positive vibes going for the second half. And this is definitely a big point for Team Burgess. They want to make no mistake with this one and get the second point on the board.
Be interesting to see the line on this one because Andrea might have just been kind of a back 8, back 12 weight on that last draw, and it hung really straight, and we've seen some hits run really straight. If it gets curling early, it might be hard to save. But this one looks pretty good so far.
Line is good, and with the right way, we'd anticipate a little bit more curl, and here it comes, moving hard. Sweepers are on this here, making sure they get by. I think they got it there, Jack.
Yeah, brooms went up from
well swept.
Both teams. Looks like a nice 2 on the board as close that gap.
Absolutely.
Heading in halfway.
No question. You remember what we saw last night, Jack? We had a very one-sided game to start with, and it got really close and really interesting in the end. So a little bit of positive momentum here with the 2-ender for Team Burgess. We're going to take a 5-minute break, but we'll be back for the second half.
And we're back for the second half of this New Brunswick Scotties final. Team Kelly has got the hammer and a 7-3 lead over Team Burgess.
No surprise to see the center guard up right off the bat, Jack. And, of course, Team Burgess going to look to steal a point here, or steal multiple points if possible, in the sixth end.
Yeah, so what do you think the key is here for Team Burgess? How can they sort of right the ship? It was a nice hard-earned 2 that they got in the fifth with a nice draw to the 4 by the skipper. What do you think what change needs to be made here?
For Team Burgess, this is the thing about curling. There's nothing you can do about your opponent. You got to focus on what you're doing yourself out there. And all they can do is continue to support each other and try to make these shots as precise as they can. We've seen Team Kelly come out and have a nearly flawless first half. Team played excellent, but early going here of the sixth end, we've seen a couple of maybe the first 2 miscues from Kate forward, and a little bit heavy through on the first one. And then on this second attempt, just a bite her in the back, but a little bit of an opportunity here for Team Burgess to get in.
Yeah, there was earlier in the week. I forget the team. Maybe multiple teams were saying this is after that fifth end break, and they throw the mop around down the sheet. There's something on that mop.
Just a little
someone's
bit.
Convinced.
No question. It glosses it up just a little bit, Jack, and you see it a lot. A lead that's had total command of their draw weight all game come out in the sixth end and throw in just a few feet heavy. And seems like that chamois does have a little bit of effect.
Yeah.
As normally we see in these competitive games, after 5 ends of play, short break, and you'll have the Iceman will go out, run the mop up and down the ice just to clean any debris that may have come along in the first half of the game, and typically adds a few feet of speed to the surface. So maybe Team Kelly getting caught there with a little bit extra weight.
That draw from Tyler Parmenter that kind of pointed out earlier in the game, that rock just seems to not finish for her. There's another example.
Yeah, she had the right weight there, no question, and just wasn't able to get in underneath the cover.
Yeah, left it wide open. Hitting stick will leave it, wide open, edge on edge.
The great news for Team Burgess here, double center guard. The bad news, however, is they are really corner frozen, and as we've seen, Jack, that will make the double peel a little simpler for Team Kelly when the time comes. But for now, I think Team Burgess is pretty happy to have those 2 center guards.
Yeah, if you make a good draw here, and all you want is Andrea maybe facing 1 or 2 around the forefoot. Kind of a precise shot to maybe get a mistake. We saw last night as Team Park was mounting their almost comeback. That's exactly what they had done to Abby. Abby had a great game last night, and it was basically one shot. She had to be at least full 4 on a draw against 2, and she was half in the 4, so she's half a foot light, and suddenly the game had changed completely. So if Abby can do the same thing
No
to
question.
Andrea, then
And Andrea here, the veteran that she is it's tempting to go after that one that's sitting on the side of the forefoot, and you could lie 2, you might be able to lie 3 even. But she's been around this game for a long time, and she knows it's those center guards that's going to hurt her. And with a 4-point lead, she's going to go up there and ask her second stone to open that middle up. No mistake here. Precise hit. Shooter sticks around, but center's opened up.
just say on that throw, it's a good thing it's so straight in that spot. She looked like she was sliding a bit tight, but a good adjustment. And got rid of that stagger. That was the main thing there.
for Abby here, though, I mean, Jillian wasn't able to quite get that rock off out of play, and it might be one of those ones that kind of will cut off that draw path, and something that she can use to add another guard to here. She's asked her third Brook Tracy to do that and protect that rock that's fully in the forefoot. Sweepers like it here. I keep hearing the indication that it's a 2 meaning about a halfway guard.
So it should sit fairly close to that yellow.
I think it was quite a few years ago now, Jack. It was popularized mostly by the Furby team back in the early 2000s when they broke the system of depth. They broke the free guard zone into 3 sections, a high guard being a 1, a middle guard being a 2, and a tight guard being a 3. And use this number system that so many of us use now to communicate from the sweepers to the skip as far as what we think the weight is as it's coming down. And you know, Jack, as well as I do as a skip, it's so important to know what's coming at you.
It's a lot less ambiguous, because sometimes if you're saying top 4, back 4, you don't hear the top or back part, and
Absolutely.
you know that could be a big difference, and you know it only multiplies with the rings.
Once again, we see Kate forwards leaning on this and working hard and not quite able to get it by, but we call that a pro side miss again, Jack, where, you know, instead of firing it through and missing everything, they've chipped that guard off, and sure, it might not have been what was called, but it is an effective shot nonetheless.
Certainly. You know, teaching that 11 zone system. I curl with a new curler. She was just in my program as I finished up my degree, and she just really wanted to try curling, and she knew I did it. And teaching her that system, she was lost, really.
Yep.
Top 8, and then an 8 mean back 4. All the numbers a bit confusing.
It is one of those systems that once you catch on to it, it certainly is effective and it helps. And as a skip, when you think you might have top 4 foot weight, but you've got back 8 foot weight, you know, you're anticipating a certain amount of break as a skip. And if you've got a little bit more weight than you think, obviously you know it's not going to curl as much. But if you don't know that, you're not able to sometimes call those audibles and make a little bit better shot for your team.
It's always a tango with between sweepers, and just rolls the shooter enough to get kind of out of that draw path if Andrea needs it on her last. And Abby's pretty content that the double peel was not made, so a little more room for error on the guard.
Definitely. Abby's going to go right back and try to replace this guard in a similar position and protect that full 4 foot rock. As I'm looking at the setup, Jack, I'm thinking, you know, obviously Abby's going to throw this guard, and likely Andrea will peel it. But it almost looks like the draw right now, if you were to draw to that back yellow, if Andrea has to do that with her last rock, would be shot rock. So Abby may have a bit of a choice to make if she's, you know, looking at the same situation on her next shot.
Yeah, it certainly would be close if she drew directly to that stone at the back. Definitely couldn't afford any sort of roll off the back yellow. That one, hoping to just stop. It might just stop just in time to leave that fully buried, but it is quite long and lots of room to curl around and tap that blue one out. I think you'll see Andrea at least attempt it.
Yes, it looks like she's going to go with a softer weight hit here and try to, you know, rely on those sweepers, and knowing full well she's got a higher guard that she's trying to get around, like a number 1 type of guard that we can see right on the Jake Thomas logo. That no doubt there'll be lots of room for lots of curl once she gets past that guard.
Yeah, and of course clipping the guard here is totally a fine miss. What you wouldn't want to do is kind of whiz by everything and clip that back yellow that could be kind of backing for your draw.
Definitely.
Especially as a skip, you never really want to overthrow these. as I say that, it looked a little positive out of her hand, and
If she's got the right weight, this should curl a lot, but I think she was envisioning being a little closer to the guard. Jillian's working
very
it hard for a
close.
piece.
Great
Yeah.
sweep just to get a piece there. Andrew
Absolutely.
does sit shot rock now with that yellow at the back of the 4, but option here for Abby to draw and replace it. Now that blue will have backing, or to hit the yellow. What would you play?
Well, I think in this case, Jack, you've got to score.
Yeah.
If you're Abby, you've got a center guard there. What's going to be the best shot that's going to leave you an opportunity to steal one here? And that's definitely going to be the draw, on
Yeah.
the side. That's the other thing is of course, you don't want to let Andrea have that backing either. So I think you almost want to keep this draw not very far off the center line and maybe even show her a little bit of that side rock. Of course, knowing that there's jam possibilities in the back. And if in fact Andrea is only looking at one, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw her just try to outdraw or play the safest shot possible.
Yeah, it's certainly this is the harder shot for Abby. She could elect to hit the back one and maybe roll and force Andrea to draw the 4 against 2, or to hit and stick against 2. But we talked about it earlier in the game. You got to force your opponent to the harder shots, and
Definitely.
this one is
Just come up
well short.
light for Abby here, and it's protected her rock quite well. But now we're not even certain whose shot is, Jack. Are you sure? I think it might even
I think it's yellow.
be yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is a draw for 2 for Andrea. If not, at the very worst, it's a draw for 1 with backing. So. No doubt, Andrea looking for her button weight on this, and gonna most likely use the sweepers. But it's nice to throw these, Jack, when you do have a little bit of backing. If you're to be a hair heavy,
And you have Katie forward sweeping it.
that's also very helpful. There's no question about that. So, again, we've mentioned it a few times. A great front end on this team, Kelly. Excellent sweepers, and Sylvie's asking them to sweep early for the line.
It is really going, and they're
Something's
just giving up. Something.
either that's pick, Jack. It's very light. We saw Abby come up very light. That's very uncharacteristic misses from both of them. So either something's changed maybe in the ice surface, maybe something grabbed on those. Don't usually see competitors like that come up that light, but nonetheless,
A huge sigh of relief for Team Burgess to have the damage limited.
absolutely. And we're not even certain who scored there, but I do think it was a single point for Team Kelly.
Yeah. So we'll be back, continuing our excellent coverage of the 2023 New Brunswick Provincial Scotties. So we're back. A nice adjustment by Katie to get that rock top house after her 2 very uncharacteristic misses last end. Still game on for Team Burgess. Had a nice 2 going the other way 2 ends ago in the 5th. And if they can recapture that and chip away at this lead.
Absolutely, there. A little bit of a break last end. Saw Andrea come up light on her draw for two, so just a single. And if Team Burgess can put a score or two up here at least, get those center guards up in the eighth end, it's going to make it very interesting. So, but it all starts this end. You don't really need to do anything too complicated, Jack. You just got to stick to the game plan and try to generate that score of two.
Yeah, but that being said, the game is getting shorter in length, and there's no time to dilly dally.
Here's kind of a little bit of a miss again from Team Kelly. There's no question they don't want any of those rocks in the back of the house, and Abby's loving to see that rock in the back of the 8-foot, so it's going to call the draw right around this sort of a partial corner guard, and it's going to just complicate the removal of it for Team Kelly.
Yes, the excellent draw weight that we've seen from Team Kelly throughout the week is kind of eluding them a little bit right now. A couple of Andrea's last few draws and a couple of Katie's have, just it's not like them. But
no, Taryn Abernathy here asked to come around it, and sweeper's on it almost the whole way, and a great sweep to get this around the guard and partially tucked.
It should be open enough for Jillian Brothers to remove this stone, but not open enough to jam it. So it's
good point, Jack. It's sort of a low risk shot there. I guess the real risk would be, if you ever got this going a little bit, that free guard is a rock that can't be removed until the next stone. So
they had a few take off here earlier in the game, but
no mistake here. It looks like Jillian's able to get a corner of that rock, peel it out, and Abby's going to try to get it back in there just a little bit further and a little bit more buried this time.
Definitely not underthrown on that last one. She kind of protected the wide side, really didn't want to clip that guard.
But again, a very experienced pro side miss. You can't be soft on that one with the corner guard, and hitting that and rolling out there's certainly nothing wrong with that at this point in the game for Team Kelly. So definitely erring on the side of caution, but when you've earned a 5-point lead, you can afford to do that.
Yeah. This looks like a great shot from Tyler Palmer. Her line's perfect, and sweepers are licking their lips.
Absolutely. This is sweeper's delight. Just watch it sit right on the face of that back yellow. So well executed draw, and now Andrea's going to say, let's get this corner guard out of here, because otherwise that blue's going to be very difficult to remove, and maybe a little something brewing for Team Burgess here in the 7th end.
Even without that guard there, that blue looks tough to remove. It looks like it came right down to the face. And this one's hanging.
And it runs out a little bit, and
wow. And clean flash by Jill Brothers.
Just a little bit surprising there, Jack. That one kind of after the hog line. We've seen them usually continue to move a lot, but that one ran out a little bit straighter, maybe just a little firmer weight, and
Andrea did call straight at the end there to prevent it from curling, even though it missed on the wide side. Maybe trying to go for a plan B. Maybe she thought they were barely going to tick the blue, and she didn't want that. She wanted to clear some of the backing, but didn't even touch the backing.
Well, now for Tyler, this is always, I love it when I'm able to get in the hack and potentially throw the exact same shot that I just threw. And if she can find that weight that she just had.
Sweepers like this one, too. The line's
going to make it tough.
Another beauty. It just needs to curl. If it's any heavy, it needs to curl. But
pretty nice.
Nice shot there.
A couple of nice freezes from Tyler, and all of a sudden, Team Burgess, they've got something cooking here, Jack.
Yeah.
Looks like they're going to go back and try to remove this guard, maybe tighten up the ice a little bit, and no doubt they learned a little bit on that previous shot where they're going to be a little bit more cognizant of maybe it running out here a little bit more than maybe they thought before the last shot.
And a bit of a different thrower too. Best not to make too many corrections. Sylvie typical throw is a little softer and a little less weight than Jill would throw.
And this one certainly is moving a lot more, Jack.
But
Gets the job done.
yeah, good adjustment there by the entire team.
And that's one factor of the curling shot that doesn't really get discussed nearly as much. So much emphasis is put on hitting the broom and throwing the right weight. But one thing that really doesn't get taught much or discussed nearly as much is the release. And I think the difference on those two shots that we just saw would simply be the release, the straighter release that Jillian Brothers threw, as opposed to maybe just a little bit softer release from Sylvie.
Yeah, and these ladies play so much together that they would have seen each other throw quite a few times by now, and Andrea knowing not to tighten up the ice too much or at all just because of a different thrower.
And a nice guard from Brooke there, so just about a perfect guard. So Andrea's got no choice but to ask her third to remove that here once again.
Why wouldn't you follow this one down? It's getting late in the end, and there's two blues in the rings. Why are you still peeling?
I think, Jack, for me, if it was maybe a 1 or 2 point game, it might be a different story. But with a 5-point lead, I think peeling the guard's never a bad call. So it's maybe just the safe shot for Andrea, and it's probably more scoreboard dictated than anything.
Right, because even if you draw around, you're introducing some risk, and if you miss, it could be a 3 or a 4.
Absolutely.
Which is, makes it a brand new game. Even 3 right now for Burgess. Team Kelly's still in control. They still have a 2-point lead. And Team Burgess is still got to make these guards nice, because just the way the blues are lined up, you should be able to remove at least one of them.
Well, this guard looks like it's running a little bit deeper. It's going to slip into the rings here for Team Burgess, and a little bit of a mistake there, slips into the top 8. So no doubt we'll see Andrea throw some firm weight at this and try to look at maybe getting 2 of those blues out, and also no doubt removing her back yellow, which is kind of a rock that's given her a lot of problems right now.
Yeah, that's the main key to this shot. Even if no blues are removed, which with the weight I assume she's going to throw would be hard, but get rid of that back yellow, because that is not helping you at all. And that's the rock you pointed out in the second shot of the end that was going to hurt Kelly.
No doubt they're there. Team Burgess gives them an opportunity. It's a subtle miss, but we saw Tyler Parmenter make 2 great freezes and then a nice guard from Brooks. So here we are down to skip rocks, and Team Kelly's still chasing. So
yeah, this is probably one of the higher pressure shots Andrews had to throw this game, or even this week. A jam, like if blue sets 3, a jam or something.
And this one's taken off on them a little bit. It's close, though. Great throw from Andrea.
Great shot.
She's able to get rid of 2 blues and the backing.
Might have just
did
hung
that
on
bite,
at the
Jack?
back.
It might have.
I'm not
It's
sure.
tough to tell from our vantage point. I can see some white paint underneath that rock, but it might be biting.
I'm going to assume it's out of the rings. It looks like the draw was called here.
I think
for
they would
Abby.
hit that if that was in, Jack.
Yeah.
So I think that Andrews removed it, also removed the backing, got her shooter out of play. So really, she achieved a lot of things with one rock there, Jack, didn't she? Even more than the double. Getting her own stone out was very effective. And getting her shooter out of there is not to be undersold, because that's only another rock that Abby could potentially freeze on or use to try to generate more points.
She hit that in perfect spot. If she doesn't throw a billion miles an hour, that blue sticks around and
what a weapon it is to be able to pull out that high hard one and when you need it like that. So great shot by the skipper there.
Especially, she throws it pretty much the hardest out of most curlers.
Now for Andrea here, she's got a great opportunity to get out of trouble here. Sort of a short double for her, and if she's able to stick the shooter, the force is on. So
all
one
of a
great
sudden.
shot from her, and the complexion of this end has really changed a lot in just one shot. So
Yeah, that last one for Abby just didn't quite curl up enough at the end, or if it's any shallower, the double's much thinner, and Andrew would have been happy to just play it safe and hit an open one. But this is pretty low risk. The yellow's really not in play for the double and the weight she'll be throwing.
And I think Andrew would also be just as happy to maybe hit this a little bit thick and flop right over on. Would essentially be the same effect.
This is tracking a bit.
Looks close, and it's floating, but she gets them both. And
good save on the hack there. That's
very good. That was. I'm sure she was holding her breath there for just a second, because that was backing off, and it only clipped an inch of that stone or so, Jack.
Yeah.
And with that weight, of course, was plenty enough to make it. Now, Team Burgess sounds like they're maybe having a discussion, Jack, right now about, do we hit this for one? Do we try to blank this and maintain the hammer? We're running out of ends here. We've got 5 points to make up. Do you take your one and start trying to steal, or what's the strategy here?
Well, that's an interesting point. They did do a lot better in the sixth end without the hammer. Team Kelly was chasing them the whole end, and they're one shot away from stealing. And maybe take your chances without the hammer. You're not gaining any points by blanking.
True, and no doubt they're running out of time. So it looks like they've chose to take their point here, make a draw for one, and
they'll pretty much be all in terms of.
Absolutely, you'll see them come out in the eighth end and do everything they can, double center guard, and try to generate the offense.
Really can't let Team Kelly score anymore. So nice draw managed in there. In the 8 foot, and they'll get their single. But great shot by Andrea on her first and her second.
No doubt.
To really limit the damage after quite a nice setup by Team Burgess.
Well, that's what they pay the skipper the big bucks for, Jack. Sometimes they've got to make those saves, and Andrea hasn't, as we mentioned, she hasn't been tested all that much as far as having to make those big shots. But you can see the pedigree of a champion when somebody is put to the test like that and they come up with a couple big shots for their team. She's put herself in a great position here now, up by 4 with the hammer, playing the 8th end, and no doubt she's going to continue to try to keep the center line open, and I think she'd be happy to even be able to take 1 point this end and maintain control of this game. So again, folks, Zach Eldridge here, alongside with Jack Smeltzer. We're at the Capital Winter Club and join this final game of the ladies' provincials. It's been an excellent event. Of course, we started here, would be on Wednesday morning, I believe, Jack, and head ice tech Joe Mason, I believe, flooded the ice on Sunday night, textured the stones that day as well. So all week we've seen some great shot making, great surface, and obviously Capital Winter Club playing host to a great event here this week.
Yeah, it's always the Capital Winter Club always has a great atmosphere, not even just for events, but your kind of random Tuesday night men's or Monday night mixed league. Like there's a party every night, it feels like, and for better or for worse.
It's definitely been a great atmosphere. The club's busy, and so many new players competing, and a great atmosphere in the club. Very vibrant club, very busy club, and we're very fortunate to have what we do have here.
Yeah.
So now for Team Burgess, might seem a little bit odd, but I think they're probably going to call a center guard, Jack. Maybe the freeze was called, but might even see the double center here. Might seem a bit unusual to think, why are they guarding the other team's rock? But Team Kelly's made the call to get this thing into the top 4 foot, shrink the scoring zone for Team Burgess, and But for Abby and her team, they've got to congest the center line. It's their only chance to steal off Team Kelly.
It's, how's your mind reading? If you were to read Abby Burgess's mind, what kind of shot do you think she wants to leave Andrea, against 2 or 3, if that was the case?
I'm thinking she would be happy to leave her about a 20-foot angle run back against 4. I think that's what Team Burgess would like right now. There's no doubt that she wants to complicate this as much as possible, and in order to do that, congesting the center is always the sort of the recipe to do that. And but Team Kelly's also sticking on the offense here a little bit themselves, and getting this rock in the top 4, and now tucking this one just a little bit around the guards, and so of course that's going to mean at some point Team Burgess is going to have to deal with those rocks if they want to gain control of that scoring zone.
I really meant to draw her a hit, but
okay.
Yeah.
Well, we've seen so many good hits from Andrea. We've seen so many good draws from Andrea. How could you pick, right? So Team Burgess now with the timeout, trying to, Jack, as a skip, a lot of the time, this is funny that the timeout's happening on second stones, but a lot of times this is the decision point for the end. And it might seem like a simpler shot, but a lot of times the choices that are made on these early calls will dictate the direction that the rest of the end goes. So kind of a wise timeout here, I think, by Team Burgess to have this discussion and try to make sure everybody's on the same page with what they're going to do here moving forward.
I completely agree. Second stones always seem to be like a big turning point. With those 2 great yellow shots, you really can't. I don't think you could come around the outside and try to sit. At best, you could kind of maybe draw 1 or 2 in there, but those yellows are so usable for Team Kelly for a short run back. Or I think you kind of need to bump some things around and try to get those yellows behind the tee line. And
yeah, just maybe a soft back line, back house weight jack, maybe move a couple of those yellows, leaving them in play. A lot like maybe what we saw last end with the back 8-foot yellow rock. If they're tapped back there, it's a stone maybe that can be frozen on later. Of course, you've got your 2 center guards, but can you use these yellows to, as protection for maybe a draw on the other side? I'm seeing Abby looking at maybe drawing around on the outturn side there.
Yeah, it feels like a little early for me to be doing that. Maybe if that was a mate slash shot or a skip shot, and you're kind of going all in. But if you tap these back and make this half decent, Andrea might just ignore the one you just threw in the house and peel those guards, because.
I think if I'm making this call, Jack, I'd like to see a yellow rock in the back 4-foot.
Yeah.
At the end of this, and that it may seem as though why didn't they get that out of there? But if they can just leave one of those in the back 4-foot, it might be kind of a juicy rock that they can use to freeze on in a later shot this end, and again make it very difficult for Team Kelly to remove.
Yeah, Burgess is in kind of must-seal mode. It's really not much difference in kind of your winning percentages if Team Kelly scores 1 here or Team Kelly scores 5.
Yep.
It's.
Yeah, for Team Burgess, they really need to put a score up this end, and that definitely is going to involve taking some chances and some risks in this end, but no risk, no reward, right, Jack?
This one's running a bit. We saw.
The weight looks close, but the line's a bit wide.
Both the skipped stones died here last 2 ends ago, but
gets around the top, chaps the back one, and Jack, I'd suggest that weight was pretty close to what they were looking for, but didn't really get the line they were looking for.
No, a bit unfortunate there. Andrea not electing to the back one. It's not really a problem rock.
No surprise here. She's asked her second to rip this top corner, or I guess center guard, and no double available, just a single peel, but a well-thrown rock from Jillian Brothers.
Yeah, not trying to do too much on that shot. Strategy-wise, the double peel is there, but you're not really shooting rolling your shooter very far, and then you bring in risks of jamming guards onto your own in the rings. So single peel, it's much easier for yourself.
Yeah, if you're Team Kelly here, you're content to make those simple shots and force Team Burgess to really make a good one and deal with it then. But for Team Kelly, I think we'll see them continue to just peel those guards, play those routine shots, and force Team Burgess to really, make the shots.
Yeah.
Looks like a draw here right around everything, Jack, is being called.
Well, with that tiny little kiss on the cheek is on that last stone that Tyler just threw, there's a bit of a stagger now. So the yellows, if they're run in, they're not quite to the button. And, try to get some junk back. My teammate's favorite final is the 04 Brier final when Mark Dacey made that comeback against the Furby 4. And wow, look at this shot.
Absolutely pistol. Oh, it rubs the side. It just rubbed the side there at the end. Another great draw, though, from Tyler Parmenter. We saw her make a couple of good ones last end to get things set up. And, so close here. Just touched the side of that back one.
Still not a simple shot here. It's probably, Joe can probably see less than half of this rock, and really anything wide and a flash is not good, and even chipping your own is not very good because then it kind of leaves the corner freeze on the top 4 yellow. So
definitely going to require a well thrown rock here from Jillian, and firm weight coming at it.
And a little positive here. We saw one of Andrea's go
He's running back a
here.
little bit, Jack. Are they going to get a piece? It's close. They're going to miss and get the back one.
So a big opportunity, a really nice shot by Tyler to force these more precise shots from Team Kelly. And
certainly Team Burgess will guard that one top button all end if they're able to.
Yeah, some of these upweight shots from Jill just hanging a little straight than anticipated.
So Brooke Tracy here being asked to put the guard on the shot rock, and sweepers like it, just coming over the hog line. The weight's perfect and a little bit of finish here, and this one's going to end up in a pretty good spot.
I have to say, Brooke Tracy is really shining. Like, she's so much younger than the rest of the players on the sheet. Probably by close to 10 years or so. And
absolutely. Brooke Tracy was one of the U20 Nationals teams where they placed 5th. Was that this year, Smeltzy, or was that last?
I believe that was last year. Don't quote me on that.
So I do believe for Brooke it's maybe her last year of juniors or first year in ladies competition. So no doubt it's got to be a thrill for her, as it is for all the players, to be competing in a provincial final and your first go around at a Scotties championship. And it's not that easy to get to these finals. So kudos to her and the team for the success that they've had this week. So for Sylvie now, it looks like the peel's been called, Jack, but
just a single peel, do you think?
Well, I'm not sure here. It might even be running this. It's gonna get over the top.
Looked like they were trying the run, kind of. Maybe that top 12 one, they don't think it's too helpful for them. Because it kind of someone acts as a guard on that blue, and there's no tap to the button.
Definitely not. No, I'm not sure if Team Kelly can access their rock from the outturn side. We've seen that side run a little straighter. It might even be a little bit overburied. So I don't think Team Burgess is going to be worried about that. They're just going to ask Brooke here to replace the guard that she just threw, or very close to it, and it looks to be handy.
Yeah. Really nice shot there by Brooke. Last time we saw her second guard slide a little deep, and she definitely didn't want to do that again. And I like the extra ice that was taken on that shot too. With this much finish, it's much easier to try to curl a guard over at the end than hold it straight.
For Sylvie here with the stagger here, definitely an opportunity to maybe get 2 blues and the shooter out of there on this one.
And a dead jam. Quite unfortunate, really, with that much weight.
One thing about it, Jack, of course, Burgess will put this guard back up, but with that guard jamming, what it's done is it has opened up that sliver. I'd mentioned, I think, on the last shot that yellow might be overburied. I think she might be able to see a piece of it now, and it might open up maybe another shot for Team Kelly if it comes down to it.
I think it looks pretty. Might be showing a sliver on the outside, but with how thin you'd be hitting it, you need a decent amount of weight, kind of like a board. And
still very, very difficult shot, isn't it?
Yeah. At least it could be an option if these guards are made and no double peel is made.
But you know what? It looks like Team Burgess has another nice one here. The sweepers are working this to get a little bit more curl, but line looks pretty good.
Need to get it over. Great sweep.
Line's good and just over. Does the job. Might see Andrea hit this a little bit tighter guard. Possibly even
run it back.
Peel that. Do you think she's thinking to run it back? She might.
Well, she can kind of hit either yellow on the high side or on the left-hand side. And, it's a pretty good result. The one thing you couldn't do is hit the blue a little on the high side and kind of double out your own yellows.
Yeah, there's no question. There's some serious risk to that. Risk-reward in this case. And Andrea might be just as far ahead to play the simple shot, given, the juncture in the game and the score of the game, and just get that out of there.
I think I like the long one.
Peeling
the long one, because if something goes wrong on that run back on a tight guard, there's a chance for Abby to draw and sit 2, and it's still buried. Which, if they peel this, Abby's forced to guard again, and the worst Andrea's going to face on her last one is 1. Which a steal of 1 is still very much in the driver's seat.
Definitely a good point. Got a big piece of it. Will she catch the other one? No, not quite. Just over the top.
Good effort.
Now for Team Burgess, do you just put the guard back up, Jack, or is this the kind of time you're down by a total of 4 points, and in an 8-4 game? So, do you want to try to go for the steal of 2? Do you try to bring this right in on top of the face and make the perfect shot, or are you content to just throw a little bit simpler shot, make the guard, and hope for your steal of 1?
Either or is perfectly valid. You need to make both of them.
That's right.
Thing is, it really would be quite difficult to sit on the nose of that blue. Just that yellow, it's even a little buried behind that top 4 one, and
looks like the guard's coming.
Looks like another guard.
I'm hearing 1-2 from the sweepers, so maybe just a little bit more weight than the last one, a few feet more.
Doesn't need to curl, that's for sure. A little tighter line. But does the trick.
Now for Andrea, it's overburied a bit, but it's such a long guard. It looks like she's thinking, what if I throw back 8 foot, back house weight, bump that a few feet, might be able to score 2. Almost like a heavy draw here, Jack. Would probably be enough to get that blue bumped out of the 4 foot.
Yeah, it's certainly not easy. I have no clue what the line will do. We've seen a few interns kind of die closer to the center line in this path, and it is getting a little later in the game, so the pebble's starting to break down. But we also have seen a lot of interns, especially from Andrea and Jill, go extremely straight. And this one looks like it's joining the latter group.
Starting to curl a bit now. They've got the outside sweeper on it, but they do need to get a lot of curl on this. The weight's definitely close, but not going to come up enough for Team Kelly. And it's going to be a steal and one for Team Burgess. So, game on. We've got a 3-point game, and Team Kelly will take that 3-point lead into the ninth end.
So signs of life here for Team Burgess. Really trying to whittle away at this lead that Team Kelly built early on, and doing a great job, and with great setup by their front end. They've really both Taryn and Tyler have turned on the Jets here in the later half of this game, and
definitely seeing them command their weights really well and settled into this game and making some nice shots like that. Still a 3-point deficit to overcome here, Jack, and without the hammer, they're going to have to, at some point, steal two, right? Another steal's going to be great, but steals of one aren't quite going to get it done here, so we're going to see, no doubt, Team Burgess continue to take some chances and need to steal another one, if not two.
Yeah, it's probably might be easier to steal two in the ninth when the end goal, it's quite clear for Team Kelly. They just want to score at all or blank would be also a great option. But, maybe having a few more rocks than they would in the 10th end when, it's very clear what needs to be done based on the score.
Now I see Team Burgess has called this into the top 8. I was a little surprised to see that. I thought we'd see the double center guard again, given that it will be an all-out effort to steal. But lead Taryn Abernathy's been asked to come right in around her guard into the top 8 foot, maybe bite the top 4 foot type depth.
I mean, this is any open. Maybe, last end, really that steal was set up by a fantastic draw by Tyler Parmenter, and maybe just recognizing like we can't let Katie get those 2 yellows in perfect spots again, because having that kind of pinpoint draw every end is a lot to ask of the sweepers and the thrower.
Absolutely. Well, another really nice draw by Taryn, and well executed corner frozen, and Katie's going to be asked to do the same thing, follow it right down and get on the corner of it. But this one seems to be, this is, we've talked about it before, Jack, this is Katie's out turn as opposed to Taryn's in turn, and it was a little bit later to break, but
comes up
but
very
wow,
nicely.
Look at how much it moved. That was a lot different path to get there, but an excellent shot from Katie.
And now, that's what a good lead will do. Those yellows are in perfect spots for Team Kelly, kind of forcing Tyler to come in instead of throwing that second center guard, because those yellows are great angles for Team Burgess.
Yeah, definitely very well positioned here, and again, this one, Jack, seems like it's floating out a little bit wider.
That first rock of Tyler's was.
It seems to be. The weight's close. Big finish now again. It's really starting to move hard, but it took a long time to move. Weight was close, but just a little bit heavy. And of course, no surprise here to see Andrea run up and ask her second appeal this card. And as you'd said earlier, Jack, Team Kelly, really just with the goal of putting a point on the board and maintaining control of this game.
It's got to feel good for Jill. A nice, simple shot like that. She's had a few uncharacteristic misses these last few ends, but no mistake there.
So here comes the center guard once again.
Yeah, and it's going to be hard to kind of set up a steal scenario just the way those yellows are. Kelly will peel, and you might have to steal without a guard on.
That's possible. Yeah, that's definitely possible. We'll see how things shake out here, but definitely at some point, Team Burgess is going to have to take the play into the rings, and they're certainly content to delay doing that for at least a couple more shots, but something's going to have to get moved around in those rings, obviously, in order for Team Burgess to pick up a point. And no doubt Andrea's going to be content to just continue to rip those guards off and force Team Burgess to make the shot.
Yeah. I actually really like where that guard ended up on the left-hand side. It's a bit of a different throw for Jill. Not that it matters. She made it perfect. But it also makes that blue hard to remove, even though you weren't guarding your own blue. Because those, if you guard your own blue, those yellows are still open to kind of tap and manipulate.
No question. They're guarding that as much as anything. So no mistake there from Jillian, and another guard's going to be called here for Brooke Tracy on her first. Again, we see these kind of hang out now, the outside sweeper with this directional sweeping. It's Tyler Parmiter's rock to try to carve this over to the center, and it certainly is. It's going to get there. And I mean, as we watch those go down, Jack, we're sitting right behind the sheet here, and takes a long time for these rocks to move, but when they go, there's no stopping them.
Yeah, even just these kind of status quo guards, it makes it even just interesting to watch because you get so nervous about the line, but usually finds its way to the right mark. This one might be over curling.
Might be getting this going back. No, just hit it enough on the high side to avoid any contact in the back and make the peel. So kind of the cat and mouse game's on here, Jack. Another guard's coming, but at what point does Team Burgess make that decision to jiggle things up in there? So now you're on your mate's last stone, asking for the same shot. It's just a matter of when do you make the move? And for Abby, it's most likely going to be on her first one.
Yeah. The exact same spot for the guard would be great. 'Cause that way, like, those yellows are easier to remove, or at least better angles for you to tap. Not that it matters, because Andrea's always going to peel.
No doubt, yeah. So Silva here with a very similar shot. Again, looks a little bit tight out of the hand, Jack. Katie's on this and working hard.
Really, really curling. Might be running back onto...
Again, they avoid contact on the back with a great sweep, and I know I've said it already today, but it's all those hours spent in the gym and all the effort that's put in. Kate Forward certainly takes a back seat to no one when it comes to sweeping and holding the rock straight. So
just a real meathead, really.
you can't undersell that. That's those are the sorts of things that help you to win championships. They're small things, but this team takes their fitness very seriously, and we've seen it at least 3 or 4 times, Jack, where it's made a big impact on shots that if they had me sweeping those, they're hitting the guards and they're going to curl more. But thankfully they've got some some great sweepers, and they're holding the line true there for them. But now we're down to skip rocks, and
Move's got to be made here.
Abby's got to do something with this, doesn't she? It's tough to tell from our vantage point, but it does look like yellow's number 1.
Blue's number 2. Blue might be number 3 at the back.
It's close, and it might very well be number 3. So it looks like Abby's
freezing on the top.
Possibly going to freeze on the corner of the yellow in the top 8 foot, I think.
I do think like some sort of jiggle needs to be made.
That almost looks like the draw ice, Jack. I don't think we're going to see a whole lot more than draw weight.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine much more than back 4 weight with that ice.
Yeah.
And it has been straightening out as the game's gone on.
Oh, now she's just, look at this. The broom's just been moved in. As we say that, broom's been moved in about 6 inches. So
we're too loud.
I think Abby might have rethought her line a little bit and wants to make sure that she does, in fact, get over to make contact with those.
Sort of like a back 8 weight and
try
to keep the shooter corner frozen on the top yellow and create a stagger. Looks like it's curling.
Line's close.
It's important not to cross the face and leave it double.
That might have been what happened, Jack. I don't think there's a whole lot of risk now for Andrea to hammer that one on the nose that was just thrown and remove 2 blues and leave her shooter right there.
Yeah, you could even get rid of your shooter, and there's not going to be a yellow double because it's going to be lined up on that back blue still.
That's true.
I don't think that top 8 yellow is going to move far
Doesn't
or at
look
all.
like it's it doesn't look like it's going far. Hard to tell the angles from our vantage point, but that was the instinct we had right away, and definitely the broom wasn't very long going down for that shot. So
yeah, maybe just a little light and on that one, because it was more of a top 4 weight by the time it got down there.
Andrea's feeling like this is just a little bit wide of the target right now.
She might, that blue might stick around.
Well, it's spinning into the back and
fairly okay.
Maybe still a bite, but she certainly left herself with a nice shot rock on the top of the 4 foot. Abby's going to try to bump that back and make a little bit of a pocket, make it very difficult to remove for Andrea.
I like how Andrea didn't overthrow that. Sometimes you kind of get happy-go-lucky with these huge weight hits, and she's made a few nice ones this game, but that shot didn't need that. That yellow spun a little farther than maybe we anticipated, and she wanted to keep that around just in case she can roll out now, basically, and still score.
Well, this is the option, too, for Abby. I mean, do you want to tap this back, or do you want to make her look at 2? Is there potential to maybe tap that back and just roll over a little bit, leave no double? What's the best play here for Abby? Or you're thinking about, what do I want my opposition to play with their last stone in selecting this shot?
I think either way, Andrew's shot is going to be very similar, because to tap that back and not have it jam on that blue, you're gonna roll maybe just a hair wide, and kind of leave a similar shot whether you play the hit or the top. They did motion for that thin double to possibly sit 3, and that would be the best result. Definitely the hardest shot, but no risk, no reward, as you said earlier in the game.
Well, too, I guess, Jack, when you break it down, I mean, we've, 3-point deficit, you've got to steal 1 and then you've got to steal 2, or vice versa. So, I mean, what's this end shaping up like? This is probably the end where you're only going to get a chance at stealing 1. So, maybe you're better off to try to ensure that, because take your chances in the next end. But I'm not envisioning any steal a 2 type scenario here with the front being wide open.
I picture Probably only if she ever made the double and, there's a jam and roll out. Or
So it looks like this is probably the ice for just a soft tap back
Yeah,
on the shot rock.
maybe on the nose and hope for a jam.
See what kind of weight she throws, but of course she should be pretty familiar with the path from having thrown a similar line on her last shot, and maybe this is just going to be a little bit more weight. Get a little separation on these.
Line looks almost identical. But yeah, like you said, just definitely the more weight, and Taryn's on the curl, and line looks fairly nice. Just need to curl up a bit more.
So now, who's shot Jack? I mean, I kind of think Andrea might be number one. It's hard to tell from our point up here, but Andrea's called the draw. Definitely yellow's full four in the back, and I sort of think that top blue is only partially in the 4 foot. So I think this is a draw for two. No doubt would
Might be a top with what Sylvie just mentioned. She doesn't want to flirt with that blue that Abby just threw.
Okay.
But yeah, not a lot of ice for that top either. It's gonna.
Well, she's probably going to have to throw close to backline weight to, chip roughly half of a stone into the button area. So we've seen a remarkable difference in the line as far as the line that you get with the draw weight as opposed to even backline weight running out so much straighter. So
True for both teams. Kind of the misses recently on anything more than back 12 weight has been on the straight side. But Jill is really trying to keep this one straight.
The line's really close. I'm going to chip a little corner of this, and is it going to sit in time? Looks
Great
like a
shot
great
for
shot
two.
from the skipper, and
Broom goes up for
one for sure, and I think it's two.
for Andrea.
If it's a two, boys, that's a big score for Team Kelly, and
Bit of a discussion at the halfway down the sheet for Team Burgess, and
well, there we have it, Jack.
that'll be fist bumps.
Handshakes, and I do believe it was a count of two, and what an incredible performance by Team Kelly today to capture the provincial championship. They're going to be off to British Columbia here very soon to represent our province, and no doubt they're looking to improve on that bronze medal finish from last year. And hats off to Team Burgess as well here today. Fought a great battle and a good game, and no doubt we're going to see more from this team in the years to come.
Yeah, a lot of tenacity shown today, and it's a loss that is going to sting for a bit, but a fairly good week overall, and
Very good, yeah.
dropped
Absolutely.
to a sharpshooting Team Kelly.
Oh, no question. Team Kelly was on a mission today, and they played an excellent game, and congratulations to Team Kelly, Andrea, Jillian, Sylvie, Katie, and of course their coach, Daryl. Going to make fine reps.
Yes. Yeah, very classy reps. So, everyone, thanks for tuning in to our coverage of the 2023 New Brunswick Provincial Scotties. Until next time.
Thank you.